Hey everyone, Andrew here. There's something kind of cool today that they did not announce in the American Direct, but for the Japanese Direct, they revealed that Dragon Quest III HD-2D remake actually has a pretty major update. So this update includes a 60 FPS mode on top of a basically 30 FPS mode. And what you're getting out of it is on the 60 FPS mode, they're saying it's prioritizing performance. So resolution dips are basically what you're looking at. Looks a little bit better than it did pre-update, at least from my memory of it. But the prioritized graphics mode, which is the 30 FPS mode, is running locked 30. Looks better in terms of resolution, but honestly, I don't know if it's going to really be for me. Anyways, let's take a look. Let's give it a comparison. So we're gonna go to the menu here, and we're gonna go down to System Settings, Display Settings. And you'll notice it's right there, Graphics Optimization. So we're currently defaulted to Performance, but here we can swap over to Graphics, and you'll see pretty much right away, 30 FPS. It is locked. I don't really notice any frame pacing issues with this, which is nice. The texture resolution looks really clean, especially on handheld. But overall, this is a pretty solid looking mode. I think this game is kind of underrated in terms of presentation, just how it looks and how it feels to play. I think a lot of people have kind of overlooked this game. So it's really cool to see that kind of level of performance, with a higher graphical fidelity. However, if we swap back over to performance mode here, it's going to, be a little harder to tell unless you're really looking. I've been looking specifically at the plants on the right there in the bottom right, along with the stone post. You can kind of tell a little bit of a difference in terms of the visual fidelity. Mostly just texture resolution. It's nothing too crazy. But yeah, here we are. We're walking around town, 60 frames, completely locked, no frame pacing issues whatsoever. I think this is probably how I'm going to play the game going forward. I simply think this is just the best overall, mix of both worlds. Resolution seems higher than it was on the original Switch version, and I mean, the version we were playing basically 2 days ago before this update came out. So anyway, let's go into the field here, and you'll notice the load times are a little bit better, which is nice. And of course, it's performing at 60 frames per second in performance mode. About what we expected. So I'm going to look for a battle now. Alright, now we're in a battle, and you'll notice the little environmental effects like the wind blowing and the clouds. It's all 60 FPS. These sprites are not going to be animating differently than before. They might have some extra speed to them. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, these are 2D sprites that were pretty much designed a certain way. It's kind of expected. So we're gonna jump back over to graphics mode. As you can see, it's 30 FPS again. And in fact, let's do a real quick test. So I'm going to go back in here really quick. I'm going to swap between these modes. If you pay attention to the castle, you can kind of see the resolution change. But overall, the game looks fine either way you play it, in my opinion. Which is why I'm kind of leaning towards performance mode. But anyways, let's go into a battle with graphics mode turned on. Right off the bat, you'll notice those things I mentioned earlier, the little wind effects and the clouds, they're moving at 30 FPS. Kind of expected. The sprites, to me, seem pretty much identical. It's a much sharper image overall. Definitely running a higher resolution than we were in performance mode. But overall, like, I think, I guess it's up to personal preference if you really want the extra crisp visuals or if you want the performance. Either way, I think you're in for a good time. So anyways, hope you'll have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. I will see you next time.